Hey everybody, Mike Steele here with BBQ Champs Academy, and hope everybody's having a great week. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight with two-time world champion Mr. David Bouska with Butcher BBQ, and we're going to be talking about all things barbecue tonight, and talking a lot about the American Royal. David is no stranger to the American Royal. Got reserve grand champion back in 2018, and an epic year for him. And I think that was the same year that he won the Jack as well. So we're kind of looking forward to talking to David and kind of helping people along the way, as we are about 6 weeks away from the American Royal. And so we're wanting to kind of get some of that information out to you. We're going to continue to try to bring in some of our cooks. I know I'm going to try to reach out to Corey Mikes and see if we can get him here. He has done incredibly well there. And obviously Sterling's already got the shoe in 2 or 3 weeks before. Every time we've had him on the show a couple weeks before, he's been crushing the Royal. He said, I don't want to break the tradition. So anyway, so he said, I'm in that same spot, whatever that was. So we're going to have a good time tonight. David's got some new podcasts that he's been doing, covering some product reviews of some of the new products that he has. We're going to talk a little bit about that. As you know, David has got some of the absolute best rubs, injections, and sauces on the planet, and we're going to get an opportunity to hear about his new rub that he's got. He just showed me some pictures of what he had cooked up this past week, and it looks absolutely phenomenal at what it does for the bark on this stuff. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So without further ado, we got folks coming in. As you come in, if you would, please pop in where your name, we got your name, where you're from. Emmeline, thank you for being with us all the way from Ohio. Miss Caitlin Crane, thank you for being with us. And if I recall, I think I seen you had a first place in ancillary and got your golden ticket this weekend, so congratulations to you. Mr. Tim Ish, happy that you're with us. I know you had a big win in KCBS competition here a couple weeks ago up in Oklahoma. David was telling me about. And congratulations on that. For a man that can't eat chicken, you seem to do very, very well in KCBS competition with that chicken. John, thank you for joining us. Also, Gordon said he might be late. Yep, he definitely texted me and said, I'm not going to be the first on the show tonight. So, but Kira's at a cheerleading not coach or some kind of meeting they're doing with cheerleading. So I'm sure he's going to be joining us here shortly. Veril, thank you for being with us tonight. Hot, in Portland, Oregon. We have been just, once again, blistering hot, 103, 104 degrees. It's just been miserable. We have an Arctic cold front coming in tonight. It's going to be a nice, cool 66 degrees tonight. So I am looking incredibly forward to that. It's supposed to be only about 92 degrees tomorrow. We've got 2 days of that, and then the forecast is right back to 103 degrees, and I don't think we've had rain in about 3 or 4 weeks, so everything is burning up around here as well. So we're at least going to be thankful for the couple of cool days that we do have coming. Chris, appreciate you being with us all the way from Connecticut. Darren, thank you for being with us. I think I seen you had a pretty good weekend, too. I could be wrong, but I think I seen you had a good weekend, Darian, and if that's the case, congratulations. I try to see as many people's posts as I can, and I got so many that I go through, I'm trying to remember everything. Richard, we appreciate you being with us. Been doing good. I hope you have as well, brother, and I keep cranking out them beautiful paint jobs on them pits. Mr. Danny Titus, good seeing you and Rhonda this weekend. We had a great time with you as always, and look forward to the next one. Sam, we appreciate you being with us as well. We got Mr. Hunt with us from Smoky Bees Competition Barbecue Team. Good evening, sir. We appreciate you joining us. Blake, as always, thank you for being with us. I've been doing pretty good. We went down to Bunkie, Louisiana this past weekend. Went down there and I got hammered. Wasn't exactly the results that I wanted. I had a 6th place in rib, like a 17th place chicken and 18th place brisket. And I tried something a little different on brisket that I probably shouldn't have done. And it just sometimes happens. So anyway, but we go on to the next one. We want a huge congratulations to Adam Gotro. There was nobody that was going to beat that guy. I think he had a first place, a 2nd place. And he absolutely killed her. Maybe he had a 1st, 2nd, and a 2nd. I think he had 28 total points. He absolutely crushed it. Congratulations to Adam Gotro. He said he finally broke the jinx. It's been about 10 months since he's had a top 3 finish. And, man, he went on ahead and piled them all up at one time. Adam is a great cook, a great friend. So huge congratulations to him. And also Jason White got reserve grand champion. Those are two of the most predominant cooks we have in South Louisiana. You get those two together with Jerry Valley, Brady Bodine, a whole host of other guys that are down there, and they will just absolutely tear you up. So still trying to learn all the South Louisiana stuff of what they like down there. But it's part of it. We have a good time. To me, it's just about the fellowship that we have with our barbecue brothers. Wilhelm's with us. We appreciate y'all being here tonight. Got some great rubs and sauces as well. Who else we got? Ollie, thank you. How old are you? I'm 60 years old. So a lot of people was like, man, I didn't realize you was quite that old. Yep, I'm 60. Turned 60 back in April. Good evening, Mike, from Lang's Bad to the Bone Barbecue. Mickey, appreciate you joining us tonight. And Al, thank you for joining us all the way from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Never got a chance to visit Pittsburgh, but I've always loved some of the things that I've seen around the city. I know y'all got a great football team back in the day and still doing pretty good. So let's see, Blake went to Biloxi, got a third in SEA, golden ticket. That's awesome. Congratulations to everyone that walked this weekend. That's great. White Trash Cookers, we appreciate you being with us. Thank you for joining us tonight. Paul, appreciate you being here. Twisted Boot Barbecue, thank you for joining us tonight as well. And Mike, are you coming to Decatur Cook-Off? Ader for Decatur. As of right now, I don't think I'm going to make the Decatur Cook-Off. Last year, I cooked the cook-off that was in Ennis, Texas. And I'm probably going to end up doing the Ennis Cook-Off. I think that's September the 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in that weekend. I've already talked to the promoter there. He's certainly wanting us to come back. It's just a little bit closer for us from Shreveport to head to Ennis, Texas, as opposed to getting all the way up to Decatur. So is that the cook-off, Mark, that's on September 8th, 9th, 10th, of the whatever date that is in September? If that's the case, I'm probably going to go to Ennis, as much as I hate to miss it. If that's the one that Justin and them's putting on, I really want to go, but man, that's a long haul from us, from Shreveport, to get over there. So, let's see. Dwayne Boer, okay. Appreciate you being here, brother. Certainly do. We got 23 folks on here. We're going to give a few more minutes for people to come in. Look, tonight we got a great pitmaster, Mr. David Bouska. Yes, the 8th and 9th. Yeah, Mark, as much as I want to go to that competition, it's just so far, and with one being about 120 miles closer, it's going to be about 100 miles closer. It's just going to be kind of hard to pass the one up in Ennis, Texas. And I've already kind of talked to the promoter, and he's really kind of wanting me to come back and help him kind of grow that competition. So I know it's up against a tough one with what they're doing up in Decatur. So I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Once again, if y'all have any questions tonight for David, he is a man of tremendous knowledge. He's got an incredible class here on Barbecue Champs Academy. I thoroughly enjoyed filming David. Incredibly knowledge. He's a butcher by trade. I think at that time, which was 3 years ago, I think he had been in the business for 34 years or so. He's been doing it for a long time. He knows his cuts of meats. He's got a lot of techniques and that's very technical in his class, and a lot of times it's the techniques that help win classes or win competitions. And so if y'all have any questions about the Royal or barbecue in general, I'm sure there's some stuff Dave would probably be glad to share with you. We're going to kind of pick his brain a little bit about his prep coming into the Royal, what he's doing, how he's getting ready, some tips, some tricks, some things that you may want to do while you're at the Royal. And if that'll help you out, and whether it's just at the Royal or preparing for any barbecue competition, I think they all will apply to all of them, and I'm sure David would probably agree to that. But the Royal is kind of special, and I think a lot of people like to treat it as something that's pretty special. It's a unique thing. If you've never been before, I highly suggest just try to make it and go cook. It's a lot of fun. So I want to real quick thank all of our partners. Prairie Fresh, we always appreciate them. Lone Star Barbecue Pro Shop, Mr. Brian Crawford. David with Gunnar Wilhelm knives. I've said it over and over, one of the best knives I've ever used in my life. Dustin Stanley at the barbecue store. Incredibly quick shipping. They can always get product out usually within 24 the same day. If it's done, if the order's placed before 3 or 4 o'clock that day, they usually are good about getting it out the same day. John Lindsay had all queued up. He's got some great rubs as well. And my dear friend Gail down at Daigle's barbecue sauces and some glazes that they've got are just absolutely phenomenal. So be sure to check them out as well. We certainly do appreciate all their support over the years. Paul Russo, what did you think about the Bunkie Comp this past weekend? I thought it was a great competition. It was a lot of fun. I was incredibly tired going into Saturday. We got down there and on Thursday about 12 o'clock. We always get there early so we can go eat. A lot of you may not know, but I've been in the pool business for 35 years. They call me the pool doctor here in town. There's nothing that I can't fix, clear up. And I got down there and I noticed one of their pools had a little lime, just a light green tint to it, and kind of checked it. And she didn't realize I had been doing the business for 35 years. So I started checking all of her pools. I found little issues with each one of them. She had said they had been battling pools all year long. They've got 4 in the park itself. It's a beautiful RV park with an amazing water park there. So I started Thursday afternoon about 7 o'clock and didn't finish up till about 11 o'clock that night. And then all day Friday from 8 o'clock to 5:30, we were continuously working on those pools. I was teaching the guy that maintains their pools and just really kind of showing him what was wrong, what they were doing wrong, a better way of doing things. They just literally, who had taught him was teaching him completely wrong. And I said, how's it working for you? And he said, it's not working and I don't know what to do. So we've got them straight. The pools are absolutely crystal clear and pristine right now. I talked to Carolyn, a sweet lady down there that runs that event, and she's the manager of the RV park. She thanked me once again today, and she said, we have just learned a tremendous amount from you just in the last couple of days. So I was pretty tired going into Saturday. It was 103 degrees out there all day Friday, but I was very happy with my cook. I don't ever make an excuse. Everything was perfect. I thought I had a top 3 chicken. It barely made it. It got to the final table and it was at the bottom of the final table. Had an amazing brisket, had really good ribs. Ribs the only thing that hit. So I had a great time down there. And if you want to go to a really good, fun competition, Bunkie is a really good one to go to. It will be a stack field. I think we had 28 teams, and it is some of the absolute best cooks in Louisiana that's down there. So if you go, you certainly got to bring your A game. And Michael was there. He had, I think, 1 or 2 walks. So congratulations to you, Michael, on a great weekend down there. Let's see who else. Got 13th overall in my first full KCBS competition. Did ribs, only second year, thanks to Barbecue Champs Academy. Awesome stuff. Yeah, Clint, man, thanks so much. That's the kind of stuff that we really like to hear. I know all of our cooks love to hear the success stories that y'all have. It really makes them feel good when you can come in, you can take their class, you can learn their techniques, you can learn a few of their recipes and the secrets and the things that they do, and go out and compete and do good. And it is always rewarding, I know, to them and to me, to know all the hard work that we put into making these classes is paying off for everyone. So 13th out of 58, big barbecue competition. That's a big backyard competition with 58 teams. Huge congratulations to you, Clint. That is awesome. So, but anyway, if you ever get a chance, Bunkie is going to be back on. I think it's the first or second weekend in August. I think it's the 10th. She's already done booked me for next year. So she said, you're coming back. And I've already got my RV spot. She's already booked me for it. So it's a fun competition down there, and a wonderful water park. Big, huge slides and just indoor, outdoor pools as well. Fun for the entire family. So anyway, without further ado, let's get this thing a-rolling. We got about 24 folks on here right now. A little light tonight. We had a huge show last week. We had the executive producer of Barbecue USA. So please continue to support that TV show. We hope with enough viewership that they're going to get a season 3. It's looking pretty good. Viewership's up this year over last year. which is a good thing. If it continues to grow each and every year, we may have many more Barbecue USA episodes coming, and I know a lot of people have enjoyed them. All right, well, let's bring the man of the hour in, the one that we're all waiting to hear from, and pick his brain. If I can get my mouse, man, this mouse has got a mind of its own. It wants to go everywhere except where I want it to go, and I don't exactly know why. But David, I need a mouse trap to keep this thing in wraps, brother. How you been doing, man?
Man, we are doing really good. Good seeing everybody.
That's good. So glad to have you, David. You're always just such a wonderful personality. You always got a smile on your face. You know, if you're like all of us, we just love to get out and go cook and be around people that talk about barbecue. So we got about 28,000 people on tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about barbecue tonight. Anyway, how you been doing? What's been going on, brother?
Oh, man, it has been just hot. We've been doing everything we can to cook and stay cool. And that combination doesn't work out right now, not in July and August.
No, not this time of the year. It's pretty miserable. This has been one of them. Seems like it's been about 5 years ago we had this kind of heat wave come through here, and it's not fun. I'm hoping next year it'll be a little bit better. So tell us a little bit about some of the new product, David. I know you showed me one of them just a minute ago. I want to talk a little bit about your product. I want to go into what you're doing, prepping for the Royal, and then we're going to talk about your podcast here toward the end as well. So tell us a little bit about your new rub, and I hope you still got a bottle of it handy.
I do. I've got it sitting right here. I'll just pull it up and show everybody. What we've got is a product called Texas Bark.
Okay.
And what Texas Bark is exactly what it's labeled right there on the front. It's a salt, pepper, garlic. It's an SPG. But there is, man, I just refused to come out with an SPG for many years because there is 10,000 different SPGs. I mean, what can you do different to it? And about December of this last year, I really got to studying and thinking about it, and I thought, man, I need to do a good new rub. An SPG would be great, but what would it be? I didn't want a jalapeno. I didn't want nothing like that. So what I did, I butchered it. So
I butchered it up. There you go.
I added activated charcoal.
Oh, okay.
So the word Texas Bark, and what it does is it gives that great Texas bark look, taste, everything that Texas has done great for years for that flavor. You get it in that rub, but you don't have to cook like that anymore. You don't have to do 14, 16 hours.
Pull that picture up, David.
All right. What I'm going to do.
Let me see if I can get.
What I'm going to do is the first picture I'm going to show will be my standard brisket. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Everybody knows I'm a pellet head. This is cooked on a pellet grill, 2.5 hours, then wrapped in aluminum foil. Okay. This is my brisket. Okay.
Right. There's the bark. Yep. Right, a very light colored bark, but it's there.
Okay. And now this is the Texas bark cook.
Wow. Look how dark that is. That is absolutely gorgeous.
2.5
and that's on a pellet cooker?
That is on the same pellet grill I've used for 10 years.
Wow.
That's right. The exact same one. And I'll show you. This is the complete brisket. I mean, I cooked it at a contest, and This is the complete brisket cook. Obviously I stole the center out for the box, but then the rest of it, that is what it is. That's it. That's 2.5 hours wrapped in aluminum foil and then cooked.
Wow.
And then go ahead.
Nice smoke ring, so it's got, which the judges like to see a little smoke ring on it. We know it doesn't do anything, but for appearance, it does okay, that's nice. It's got a gorgeous bark on it. So
tonight for supper, we had some wild caught salmon. And I thought, well, I'm going to put that on there and see what it is. I kind of had the blackened salmon in my mind that I thought I'd do, and I didn't even get a picture of it. I ate it.
Right.
It was phenomenal. Here is a picture of a beef tenderloin that I cooked 1 hour and 10 minutes. That was it. 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. Look at the bark on that thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Man. So that is Texas beef. Or is that it? Texas
Texas bark.
Texas bark. Okay.
Texas bark.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And they can get this at butcherbarbecue.com.
Yes, it's there, and we have shipped hundreds of boxes already. It went on sale Thursday of last week. We
Okay.
get the product in, we ship it to the stores, then we release it. That's our
Okay.
standard operating procedure.
Okay.
So go to your local retail store, ask them where's it at on the shelf, and let them show you. And if they don't have it, that might tell them that they need it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so that's our
Absolutely.
latest rub right there. We have
Okay.
December of last year we got started. I'm not known for copying anything.
Right.
We don't come out with just anything willy nilly.
No. I,
And that right there is that we're very happy with this.
yeah, I bet you are. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Where the rubber meets the road, that baby's laying some black marks. That's for sure. It is beautiful bark on that, on your brisket, on your beef tenderloin as well. I mean, that has got an absolutely gorgeous bark. So, I try to get that same bark. Man, I had a brisket this weekend that was absolutely gorgeous. People ask me all the time, like, are you really serious about a salt, pepper, garlic? And I was like, yes, that's one of the things that goes on my brisket. That's one of the first things is a salt, pepper, garlic. And I mean, there was my brisket this weekend. I mean, it just that beautiful dark look to it. And
That's what we're trying to accomplish. And in today's world, there's so many people that backyard
right.
pellet grill cooking,
Oh yeah.
and it's not. It can get accomplished,
Yeah.
but generally, for the most part, that brisket's hard
Yeah.
to eat.
Yeah.
It's hard to eat.
Yeah. It's
So
hard. It's hard to develop a good bark with a low and slow pellet cooker on something like that. So,
absolutely, because
um,
what that is you're burning the carbon in the air. That is what um, that's what that bark is. It's the burnt carbon, and
right.
there's not a lot of carbon in pellets being cooked.
Right.
That's why it's hard to get it. Well, this will help. I'm not going to say equal the field because proofs in the
Yeah.
pudding is what I've won. I don't believe that pellet cooking is behind anybody,
No.
but this will assist in appearance. This will assist in your own backyard. It, yeah, you can bake with it
Yeah.
and make a
Yeah.
great product. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Well, Matt says he'll be using the Texas bark this weekend at a KCBS competition in Maine. Can't wait. So,
Nice.
Matt, let David know how you do. Go post it on his Facebook page and let him know because it's going to be results of people getting out there using it and stuff like that. I'm sure David would love the feedback, but I can tell looking at the brisket, it looks absolutely amazing. James is with us tonight. James, happy Tuesday to you. And tell your sweet wife, Erica, we said hello. Glad you were with us tonight. All right, so got a new product there. That is absolutely wonderful. Look, we're going to open up this thing to question and answers for David. So if there's any particular question you've got about what he's going to be talking about tonight is the American Royal, I hope there's some of you that are going to be going. If not, a lot of times we have people that'll be listening to these podcasts later in the week, so maybe there as well. So I do have a few questions for you, David, in preparation for the American Royal. When are you starting? Like, I've already got briskets trimmed. I've already got 5 money muscles trimmed. I've already got 5 or 6 racks of ribs set aside. I didn't trim them. I wished I had trimmed them and vacuum sealed them before I put them in there. I don't even know what I was thinking. So I'll end up having to pull them out. We're going to leave the Sunday before the Royal. And we always try to get there on early in the week on Tuesday. So I've already got some of my meats done. So what are you prepping for? I mean, we're about 5-6 weeks out. So what's your process, your thinking process coming into it? What are you preparing? What are you getting ready for? And then we're going to talk about some tips and tricks and things like that for the Royal.
Well, the biggest thing for me is I actually start trying to pick out my big meats for the last 2 or 3 months. As I'm buying in my briskets, I'm like, okay, this is Royal worthy. This one is, and I'll wait till I need them to make that decision. But I've probably got, I'm guessing 6 of my A9 briskets in the freezer right now, and
Okay.
I could pick any of them. And as I actually go to pull it out, I will tumble around each one of them and see which one I want for that and everything. The biggest thing for me has been ribs for the last 3, 4, 5 years. Finding great ribs is
Yeah,
difficult.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah. So I start March, April, May, and as I'm picking through the ribs, I am setting them to the side.
yeah,
I'd like to have 6 per contest, even though I'm only going to cook 3. I
right.
will pull 4 out of my freezer and go with the 3 best, and that gives me okay. If I still don't like 1 or 2 of them, one more comes out of the freezer. But I want a true stockpile of great ribs.
Yeah,
Pork is the same way. I'm really looking for the pork for what I want. That bacon meat on the bottom, I want it completely covered. I want everything that I want times 2.
right, right.
That's the biggest thing is I decided like in 2016, 2017, and 18, I figured out that I was probably getting out meated. That's the word. That's the phrase that I used it. I feel like I was getting out meated. I didn't feel like I was getting out cooked. And the final meat being held, going through the judging, and because that's about the time frame they expanded the judging in the open. It went to 45 minutes between turn-ins,
Hmm.
and I just don't think my meat was good enough to even go that 15 to 20 minutes longer.
Right,
So the biggest thing I can say for prior to even getting to the world is don't get out meated.
right.
Start looking right
With the
now.
best. Yep.
That's the best thing, best advice I can say. And if
Yeah,
you are doing a
100%.
few competitions, if you're one, if you're not hitting 174 on a regular basis, a 173 at the lowest, then you need to find right now what they're not liking and try and find something that they are liking because you're going to need to be a 173 or better to get a call at the American Oil.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of them even higher than that.
That's
So,
right.
because
And I'm
it is
talking
so
bottom.
tight.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
talking if you want 20th place, the call at the Open,
yeah,
it probably needs to be a 173 or better.
yeah,
Uh,
at least. Yeah,
in a lot of categories, it might be 175.
yeah,
So if you're not getting that right now, you're not going to drive 300 miles and expect to get it.
yeah,
If you can't do it in practice, you're not
yeah.
going to do it in the Super Bowl.
You're not going to do that. That's right. That's right. One
So,
quick question. Mark wants to know: is the new rub available online? Take.
yes, sir.
Okay, it
Yes, sir.
is. Okay. Yeah, going to have to try the new season. How long do you like to? Okay, here's a good question. How long do you like the meat to stay in the freezer? Are you fine with 4 or 5 months on a brisket?
My briskets come frozen; they stay frozen, and I've held them from October to November. I'm sorry, October till March and April. Yeah, as
Yeah.
long as your food's working, there's no issues whatsoever.
Okay.
Um, I started finding ribs after the Royal last year, just to get started this year in April. I
Okay.
don't have an issue with that. I don't trim, even for the Royal. That's I knew you said you'd already trimmed.
Right.
I still follow my same process. I'll pull meat out on Friday morning, Friday afternoon. I'll still trim on Sunday.
Okay.
I'll make all my sauces and everything on Monday, injections and all that. But I don't put the powder in it. I just get the liquids blended.
Right. Get the liquids. Yep.
Yeah, and it's the same process. I mean, nothing's changed for me years on that. I
Okay.
still buy my lettuce on Tuesdays. I make my boxes on Thursday. We pull out.
Right. 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 Okay. So what? Let's talk about ribs. What? I know a lot of people like Compart de Rock. They're very hard to find. You know, you pretty much will have to get them from them if you want to get their competition. So, what kind of ribs are you looking for the Royal? You said you've had a hard time. I use Prairie Fresh. There was really plentiful and good, thick, nice ribs early on. It seems like when the about late May, early June, they started getting a little bit thinner and a little bit less marbling, and that's probably because of the heat, maybe the demand. It seems like they get a little bit better as we get after Labor Day. So, what are you looking for?
What's happening with you right there? Wherever the plant is that your local stores are buying from, and I'm not sure where it is. That's probably about the time frame that the feed changes. And what I mean, they're going from the old feed from the feed from last year to new crop. I mean, the grains change, proteins in it. They feed by protein, not by volume.
Okay.
So if last year's grain is a lower protein, they don't have to feed as much grain to get the protein in the animals. And so
Got
when
you.
the new grain starts coming in, the protein, let's say it's higher or lower now, they may feed less or more. And so the volume changes in the meat. And I see it more in chicken than
Okay.
anything else because seems like, and I know it doesn't change in the bins, but seems like I always do good first of the year, middle of the summer, and then I fall off for about 3 weeks, and then I pick back up once I realize that we're in our change. But most of the time when the marbling changes, it's the grain. It's
Okay.
free.
Okay.
But what I look for, and I'm still stuck on the old enhanced rib. I I tried the Prairie Fresh Green. I tried the black labels, and I just I just really like an enhanced rib still.
You like a
So
what? An enhanced rib?
enhanced rib.
Okay.
To me, it's just a little softer bite, and I inject the heck out of the ribs just like I do anything else. But
Right.
it just seems like I get a better rib with the enhancement. And what am I looking for? Man, I'll give you one quick tip. We've got it on our
Yeah.
video.
Uh,
But if you flip it over on the back, um, you know that flap that we all cut off, that loose
mm-hmm.
flap?
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't have marbling, I don't look at it. That rib's already pushed to the side. I don't care
Okay.
how thick or how whatever. That flap has to have marbling. It's a dormant muscle. Okay.
Okay.
And that muscle, that if the meat has enough or marbling and enough protein coming in, the dormant muscles will get a lot of marbling, like the tenderloin and like this flat, like some
Okay.
skirt meat material. Pectoral muscle is a very lean meat. That one will
Right.
generally get a lot of marbling. So I
Okay.
look at that flap and it doesn't have marbling. I don't. I'm done with it. And then
Okay.
yes, we do what we talk about. I judge the bones. You can get into that if you want, but yeah, I judge bones.
Right.
It's
Right.
really important. So
Yeah, you want them pretty straight. That was what I was really going through, is trying to find some that was as straight as possible, right? So, for me anyway, because I don't cook a lot. I only cook KCBS at the American Royal. I've never cooked outside. I've never cooked a KCBS competition other than the American Royal. So I don't cook a lot. I'm always trying to get my ribs somewhat straight, so it makes it a little easier for me to cut and get a pretty nice looking rib when I put it in the box. So,
and I'm not talking about the straightness of the rib. I'm talking about the size of the diameter of the
oh
bone.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yes.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't like them big, huge, especially on the big end of the rib with them big, huge bones.
Move
I
the
try.
first bone in,
Yeah,
flat down. I talked about all that.
yeah, you did. You certainly did. All right, so here's a quick question: can you over inject an A9? We cook the same, but I think we sometimes look for too much added flavor versus letting the meat stand on its own.
That is a great question, Paul. Yeah, you can over inject it. And what I mean by that is the too much flavor added. Now, I will mix up 16 ounces of my injection and I will put probably all but about 3 ounces in the flat only.
Yeah,
I will plump it like a football, but
yeah,
it's the flavor put in it. I still
right,
use my original brisket injection. I don't use my prime for A9s. If I was when I was cooking prime briskets or choice briskets, you need the prime injection.
right,
Absolutely.
right.
But you can over flavor, which is part of your question, but I don't believe you can over inject as long as the flavor isn't
Of the
too much in
injection
your
isn't too
injection.
much. There you
That's
go.
right.
There you go. All right, let's see. Nathan Sanderson Farm has some really good chickens. Yeah, it's one of the best. There's no doubt. So, Sanderson Farm, Bell and Evans, Springer Mountain, those are all really, really good chickens. So, um, okay. Do you mechanically tenderize ribs?
I'm assuming that he's asking about Jacardi, probably.
Jacquarding, yeah,
Uh,
probably so.
no, I don't.
No, you don't have to.
No.
Let's see, Gordon. Better late. Finally, Gordon, you made it. All right, I knew you'd be here. We got a few folks. There's Mr. Brady. Brady had another great outing this weekend down in Bow Bridge. Bow Bridge. Brady, I'm still hooked on Bow Bridge, brother. Down in Bunkie, Louisiana. He had a really good weekend. I think he finished fifth overall. Glad you were with us. Okay, so let's talk. So we know what you're looking for. Ribs. You were fine with an extra tender. Do you prefer Smithfield or do you prefer Tyson? Because Tyson has an extra tender and Smithfield's extra juicy or something. Are you good with either brand?
I haven't cooked either one of them in a couple of years. I've been finding Hormel.
Oh, Hormel. Hormel. You know, when I first started cooking, that's what I bought. I bought Hormel ribs. Went to Brookshire's or somewhere, and they had Hormel St. Louis ribs. And man, I'll tell you what, that's a great rib. So,
Cooking the
uh,
Hormel enhanced ribs for
yeah,
several
yeah,
years.
yeah, they're really, really good ribs, no doubt. So, now what about pork? You would prefer enhanced, or you just like a natural pork butt?
I've done both, and I can't tell a lot of difference. But here lately, where I pick up my ribs has been carrying some really nice Hormel pork butts, and that's what I've been going with.
And
I'm not a fan of their trim. They
yeah,
do get off into the white fat cap too much for me,
right.
and there's sometimes some great pork that I have to leave laying because that
They whack too
butthole is
much. Yep,
wide open. Yeah,
yep.
and I definitely use it in my boxes.
Is it an injected pork butt or not? It is
Yes, it
injected.
is.
Okay.
And I've got a couple in the freezer now of some good Prairie Fresh green labels. I
Yep.
don't have a problem with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did find some really nice Tyson at Walmart. I guess it was right before 4th of July, and I found some really nice big money muscles. It was a Tyson natural pork butt. I was looking for Prairie Fresh, but man, I haven't been able to find much Prairie Fresh over here lately. And I saw those, and I was like, man, I jumped all the way. So, all right, Brady, Hormel are loaded with 14% solution, right? Uh,
It's loaded with a lot, but I don't remember the percentage. I really
yeah,
couldn't tell you. And
yeah,
I'm sure it's got to do with which exact hormone you're talking about. And I'm sure they got different layers or levels of it, but
right,
I
right,
don't remember off the top of my head.
yeah, yeah. All right, so you're getting your meats ready. You got all that stuff done. You'll trim before you've got a class of how you go about doing that and mixing all your injections and stuff like that. So that's your prep coming in. What about now? Leading up to the Royal. I mean, you know, you're are you trying to just maybe kind of what's yeah, and you don't have to tell everything, but like a flavor profile. I mean, what is the flavor profile up at the Royal that you cook? Is it more of a slight savory with just a kiss of heat and a kiss of sweet, or a slight savory with a pretty good punch of sweet with just a little bit of heat and tang, or what do you see there?
I do the same thing I do everywhere.
Okay, so you don't change.
I don't change anything. Um,
Okay,
I just, to me, I got to fall back on my old adage of if I don't get a call or I don't like it, well, who's to blame? But at
right,
least if I hit all my marks, I feel comfortable with it.
right.
Because you cannot control the judges, you cannot
Nope.
control the tables. So just hit your marks and be happy with that. But what I do cook, I call my chicken on the sweet side. My ribs, the ribs is probably the one that hins sweet, spicy. That's the only one I'd say is that. My
Okay,
pork, people have said that my pork has a little bit of bite in the middle, but I don't think so. But there's enough sweetness on the outside that I don't guess I don't taste it. And my
okay.
brisket, gosh, just like my chicken, I haven't
Yeah,
changed it in
yeah.
years.
I ain't changing mine. I'm cooking pork, not getting good pork bacon. Okay, not to turn in for comps. Yeah, you don't. I mean, hey, Bobby, if it ain't good, don't put it in the box. If your bacon is not good, don't put it in the box. Less is more. I tell people that all the time. So I put 2 rows of money muscle in my box, and that's it. The more pork I feel like you give them, that's that much more stuff. Unless if you're a perfectionist and know exactly what you're doing and cook a ton of comps like somebody like David, or some of these guys that's all they do, cook tons of KCBS. They know, but I would say, if you're not getting good bacon, I think David would agree with you. If it's not good, don't put it in the box. It does not have to be in the box. They're only going to score you on what you put in the box. Put your best food forward. So, wouldn't you agree, David?
Oh, absolutely. Taste it. You've got to taste it. Obviously, the chicken. I will promise you, if you cook 10 chicken thighs or legs, all 10 of them came from different chickens. So you
Yeah.
can't really figure ribs. At least you can get something off of this end and something off of this
Yeah.
end.
And you
Close.
know what it's going to taste like.
Pork is the same way. Brisket's same.
Right.
Chicken is the only thing.
Yeah. Chicken, we're flying blind. We don't know, man. I hope that was a good chicken.
But taste it. Always have some kind of a finishing dust handy. You may not need it. Don't put it on there if you don't need it. But if you need it, have it handy. Don't tear up the trailer trying to get to it and kick your teammates out on the curb because you're cussing at them and
Right.
all that. Have it ready. Be prepared.
Okay.
So that's the big thing is taste it, and if it needs it, add it. If it doesn't need it, don't add it.
Don't add it. Okay. What wood do you like to use, David?
Well, on briskets and everything, I've always been just a pecan
Yeah.
person. The short cooks generally it's cherry. I've used apple a little bit and everything, but that's the type of pellets. Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby said the grilling addiction may be the best rub I've ever used. It is an awesome. I remember trying it. It was absolutely awesome. So
Well, let me tell you, Bobby, that grilling addiction underneath this has done really good here lately.
yeah, I bet it has. That is some good stuff. Do you turn in pork tenderloin, David?
Pork tenderloin.
No, pork tenderloin. That's more. That's Robbie Royal's neck of the woods. No, maybe money muscles. Yeah, he'll turn in money muscles, but not pork tenderloin.
The pork
Yeah,
tenderloin is the
that's
cut
a
of meat.
different. That's a completely different cut. That's Robbie Royal's. Robbie, are you on here? I saw him on here earlier. Robbie's the pork tenderloin guy.
Yeah.
So, oh goodness gracious. Let's see Himalayan salt. Yeah, GBA. Do a ton of that. All right, so let's kind of talk a little bit about. We kind of see the flavor profiles. You don't mind freezing chicken. I mean, brisket, ribs, pork. What about chicken? I know some people will not freeze a chicken. So I want to answer that question.
I like fresh chicken. I do not freeze it. I'm in that house. When I trim it on Sunday, I've got those hard frozen gel packs that come in all the briskets. I keep enough of them in my deep freeze. One goes on bottom and one goes on top. 24 hours later, I rotate it and put it right back there. I'll keep that chicken as chilled cold as I can keep it.
Right.
As that week is as it just sits there.
Okay. Okay. Tim Ish says, I don't like to freeze it after I trim it. So, oh well, I'm freezing mine. I ain't trimming that stuff. My stuff is going to be done. So maybe that's why I ain't doing as good in chicken in KCBS. So
I see something up there. Nathan had asked, granulated Himalayan pink salt is a good finisher.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm assuming you probably grind that.
Yeah, thumb
in a
grinder or
coffee
something.
grinder. Nathan, take that Himalayan pink salt and add equal parts of brown sugar to it, and then grind it.
I bet it's good. Yeah, it's good.
You take that brown sugar and you think, well, it's kind of clumpy, it's moist.
right.
But when you put it in that coffee grinder, it's a powder, just like anything else. And I'm
Right.
just going to tell you that sweet, salty,
Yeah, pops.
it's there.
It
Do
pops. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, you're right, Chuck. I don't know what I was thinking. Tenderloin is it? Yeah, it's the loin. Tenderloin. You can't turn in tenderloin. That's right. Thank you, Chuck. I keep forgetting about that. Trim tonight for Lubbock this weekend. Yeah, man. Don't
Yep,
like
Jim,
that.
I just happened to get a picture of that, but we'll keep that to ourselves. We don't need to show the world.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I'm getting a text from the the RV park on their swimming pool. So, oh goodness gracious. Let's see. How long do you like to rest a brisket? Some tell me to rest it as long as I can, multiple hours.
Now, you want to know how long I rest it, or do you want to know the right answer? I'm going to give you both answers.
Give me both.
The first answer is my brisket in competitions are generally done between 10:30 and 10:45, and I open them up at 15 minutes before 1. So do the quick math there, 2.5 hours. Now the proper answer to rest a slice is what I'm assuming you're asking. How long you let it rest before you slice it? The proper answer is when the inside and the outside of that brisket is as close to the same temperature. That's the best time to slice. And we can waste the rest of this podcast about the whys and how comes, and it has everything to do with the moisture and what happens to the moisture at temperature levels. And if you slice it at 200 versus 190, and 190 versus 170, and as it goes down. But if you can get the closer you can get the inside of that brisket and that outside surface to be equal, and it won't always be equal till it's room temperature. But the closer you get it, will make the best slicing brisket there is.
Yeah. So
Have you ever sliced a brisket and a couple slices in, that table is just absolutely full of juice? And I'm not talking grease; I'm talking pure juice.
Right.
Sliced it too hot.
Okay.
Because we'll dive into that real quickly, very quick. I apologize. That moisture in that brisket is, for lack of better words, let's call it, it's alive. While it's cooking, that moisture has to come out of those muscle fibers for the meat to cook, because it's about a 95-96% pure moisture product, and it has to dissipate in your smoker. So while you're cooking and you're in this great big hot chamber, the best place for that moisture to stay alive is it starts concentrating and centering in the middle of that brisket. So those outside surfaces are getting drier and it's cooking. So that's losing the moisture because it's concentrating and this is dissipating. So as it concentrates to the center is where it is. So that's why I wrap at 155 so that I can save as much moisture as possible. And then I finish it out in the steam, in the aluminum foil. Now I get to my finishing temperature and I start letting it rest. That brisket has no clue if it's going up in temperature or down in temperature. So the tenderizing method is still working over 195 degrees, 192.
Right.
As it's still up it, and if it can be on the decline, you pull it, let's say 205 for easy figuring.
Right.
Even if it's 200, it's still tenderizing. And if you slice it at 195 degrees, where's the coolest spot on that brisket? That face, that open surface.
All right.
So where's that moisture going to go? Right to that open face, and it's going to flush right out.
Okay.
So if you can get that middle of that brisket and that surface as close to the same, not as much will come out of that brisket when you slice it open.
Okay, that makes sense. So even if it's 175 on the outside, it's 178 on the inside, as long as you're good.
That's right. Go for it.
Okay.
If it cools down to 140 and the middle's at 130, that's great. Just don't let the middle be 190 and the outside surface be 150.
Right.
Way too much, because then it's going to rush to the outside. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That makes sense. 2 inches.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that face, it's going to come out, and you'll get grease on your cutting board, but you don't want juices on your cutting board.
Yeah. Now, see, I get a little grease on mine, but I don't have a lot of juice that comes out.
You got a good method.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I'll put mine back in when I'm setting. I dry my bark. I put it in. I set my sauce. It's been in there for 30 minutes. That whole surface is done warmed up. The outside surface is hot. The inside, it's hot. And, it's when I slice it, I don't get very little. I don't get a lot of juice. I get a lot of fat. It's coming out. That's just coming out. So,
Bobby, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's a really, really good thoughts on Brunswick stew. Do you make it? No, don't make any stew. Do you do pork steaks? I don't think David does much pork steak.
No, that's for Danny. Question.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Have you? Okay. Let's ask this question. Hey, David, your open pit pork injection will give it a bit of heat when you make it up on your injection, but I like it. Yeah, that's the one thing I did notice about your pork injection when I first started using it. It does have a little bite to it. So
blend it with the original pork injection.
Okay, so the original. Okay, that's right. It's the pit. The open pit is the one that's got the bite. Okay,
right.
Okay. All right. So that's good. Any little tips as far as getting light to the world? Man, you've had some great questions today, or great comments and everything. David really helped me with cooking goat back in June. Appreciate it. What's some of the tips going into the Royal? I mean, you get there. What's some of the main tips that you must know, must do, stuff like that?
The things you must know is don't be the deer in the headlights. It is a huge area, lots of parties, and a lot of fun. Remember, you're there for a contest. If
Right.
you normally go to bed at 10 o'clock, do everything you can to go to bed at 10 o'clock. It's extremely hard on Friday
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Don't get caught in the headlights. That's the biggest thing. The parties are going. Protect your stuff. There is a lot of people walking around, but stick to your plan.
Right.
Get your timeline. If they change the turn-in times, be aware of it. Stage your cooking just a little bit different. You might not think it's that big of a deal, especially on the big meats. A lot of people go, I'm not worried about the big meats. They're going to come out at the same time. So I hold them for an extra 45 minutes at the end after everything is staged, an extra 15 minutes. Well, let me tell you, an extra 45 minutes on a brisket will change it. It
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
will change
Yeah.
it. So just stage your timing. And in that case, do your homework before. Make sure. Let's find out this year if they're going to change the timing. So get your cooking sheet.
Right.
You got to have a cooking sheet and know when to do stuff. Get that changed. Get that made for the American Royal. That way
Right.
you're not out of sorts. Check everything twice. Generally, if you're locked in there and you're in your site and you can't leave, make sure you got all your butter. Make sure you got your honey. Make sure you got enough wood. And if you're cooking for supper that night, don't wait and clean your pit out before your competition. Get it
Yes.
right there.
Yes. That's exactly right. I tell people that all the time. Be prepared. I think
Yes.
that's the one of the things. Go there, have fun, but you're there. You don't spend a ton of money. Go there to have fun, but
Yeah.
when it comes time to cook, be prepared to cook. Right? I mean, don't let all the excitement of everything just completely hamper your cook. So.
And the biggest thing is if you're cooking both of them, the invitational and the open, and you normally, let's say, prep your meat
Right.
at 2 or 3 o'clock, it's after the invitational. And I've heard this a lot. Well, I'm going to wait for the open or the invitational scores to come back to tell what I want to do with the open.
Right.
And do what you do. I promise
That's
you,
it.
a whole nother set of judges. Don't change from one to another. Would you normally do that? Okay, go change. Go for it.
Right.
Give the rest of us a better chance.
Right. Right. Right.
If you're not going to change from one weekend to another, don't change from one day to the next. Just
That's
because
right.
you're in Kansas City.
Yeah. Look, there's day one. I don't know. Let's say there's 200 teams. You got 6 judges on each table. Do the math. That's a lot of damn gum boxes. They only got 6 boxes. I don't know. Math real quick. I mean, we got 100, 200, and we got 70 boxes. Is that right? 70 different tables, 60 different tables.
The thing to remember is just like the Jack. This is the same way. These judges are coming from across the United States. They're not Kansas City judges.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, there's some there from Kansas City. There's some from Kansas. There's some from Wisconsin, Florida,
Texas, everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And tomorrow they're going to be different.
Yeah, they're not going to be the same. and on the open, it's going to probably be a lot of people that's sworn right off the street that says, yes, I'm ready to judge. Because the first year we went, we had a friend of ours' daughter that she was 18 years old. She went down there and they put her through the crash course and she was judging the open. She never judged before in her life.
And expect them to get anywhere from 6 to 8 boxes per table.
Yeah.
Especially for the open. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. They never, ever can get enough judges. And I don't know if it's that they drop out or they just don't have room in those buildings for them.
Yeah.
But so expect a lot of the judges to be eating a lot of food.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Let's see, spatchcock or chicken halves and why. He doesn't do spatchcock or chicken halves, so Both are good. Spatchcock gives you a really good juicy chicken. If you know how to cook chicken halves, you can make them really good. That's what we cook is chicken halves. I do chicken halves over spatchcock, but David's the thigh guy. So, let's see. What's the hardest category to stay consistent? It seems like flavor profiles and techniques are constantly changing.
To me, it's been pork butts.
Yeah.
To me, it's been pork. I can answer that real quick.
Yeah.
To me, it's pork. That's been the hardest to stay consistent in. My chicken process, I haven't changed since 2012. My brisket, I haven't changed probably since 2013 or 14.
Yeah.
I might tweak a rub here or there on the brisket, and I'm going to tell you, I haven't changed the rubs on it till I start playing with this in January.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing is I don't tweak those. The ribs, I absolutely ribs flavors change, yes, but I don't think it gets too far left field. I think it pretty well it to me ribs is more important on getting it done properly than the
Right.
flavor.
Right.
Changing.
Right.
But pork to me is the biggest flavor changing.
Yeah. I believe you're right. That and chicken seems like chicken's been the most inconsistent thing for us, in the competitions and stuff that we do lately. It's just there's a lot of consistency in ribs and briskets in Texas and stuff, but man, chicken is all over the place. So, but that's because we're cooking chicken halves mostly, and the flavor profiles are all over the place with that stuff. So, yeah, man, some great questions tonight. Really, really some great questions. Well, David, as always, man, we're hours about up. We really do appreciate it. David's got a podcast that he's been doing. Davis, tell us real quick about your podcast. I know you're doing a little product reviews. Is that weekly? Is that bi-weekly? Every other week? How long have you been? I know you've been doing it here for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Tell us when you're doing that, and is that going to be a regular occurrence?
Yeah, I'm going to try to make it regular on a definite. But Jamie, real quick, I'm a thigh guy. Okay?
Thigh guy. Yep, good deal. Yep.
I'm trying to do it on Wednesday evenings live on Facebook, 6:30 p.m. Central, and we'll grab one of our products. We'll do a live. I'll do a complete product review. I've done our dry goods. I've done this. Last week, after it went live, I went back and just to watch it, and I have no idea why, but we picked up an echo, and the whole thing was an echo. I was so disgusted. But we've got that figured out. But yes, we're doing product reviews on Facebook Live.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very good. What time is the podcast? 6 o'clock. I just heard him say 6. 6:30. Okay. 6:30. Thanks, guys. Info is always great. Okay. Thank you for doing the podcast. I have watched a couple of them and have been very helpful. There you go. Steven's a great guy, great supporter of BBQ Champs, and he is an incredibly good cook for sure. He's killing chicken. So anyway, well, David, I really do appreciate you being on. Any final words that you want to send out to everybody, brother?
Keep cooking. Let's have a lot of fun. Don't forget. Let's have some fun.
That's it. If anything, have fun. Barbecue to me is about family, friends, and loved ones, and our barbecue family is so awesome. I cannot wait to see you again this year at the Royal. We'll be there on Wednesday when the gates open. So looking forward to finding you, David, and hanging out with you a bit, brother. As always, man, I appreciate you so much being on our show. And everybody with us tonight, man, a lot of great comments tonight. David is a wealth of knowledge and a lot of great answers that he's given us of what he kind of does. So if you want his full detail of everything he does, he's got a great class at barbecuechamps.com. Right on our homepage, you'll see his name on there. Give it a click and it'll take you to his page. He can definitely take you to the top 10. So anyway, David, thank you for taking a little time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight and giving us some of these pro tips coming into the Royal and things that you do. As always, we appreciate it, and I hope everybody has an absolutely great week. Please be careful with the heat, and as we always say, y'all go out there, have a lot of fun,